Shri Advaita, Shri Vasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are going to continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 1. We have to read text 26 today. Does anyone remember what we read yesterday? No?
Hare Krishna. We read uh, the Maharaj Yudhishthir. He asked Naraji when he did the Rajaswan that how is it that Shishupal being a very envious and he was an enemy of the Lord, and why when uh, when when Krishna killed him, why did he merge into his body, into Krishna's body? So he was struck with wonder that why, it's very, to get the Sayugya Mukti, it is impossible for a great transcendentalist to attain. And how did he attain being a demon? So then on that, it was explained that there are two classes of transcendentalists, the Gyanis and the Bhaktas. So the Bhaktas, the devotees, they do not aspire to merge into the body of the Lord to exist. They aspire to have a personal relationship with Krishna, but the Gyanis, they do. And then it was also explained that about King Vena, who was very cruel, that he had blasphemed uh, us, and the sages were were, really worried that um, how the kingdom will be, because there was all too much cruelty. He became very proud, and even when King Vena, so he was I think burnt by the sages,
He was killed by, they chanted
killed, na?
mantras and they killed
Mantras,
him.
and killed him. And then from him
Yeah.
came Prithu Maharaj. I mean, he's an incarnation of the Lord.
Mm.
I think I remember somewhat these two
Mm.
stories.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And so we were hearing that why the Lord is not affected by honor, dishonor, because he doesn't have a material body. We get affected by honor, dishonor, because we have material body. Lord's body, transcendental.
That's it.
So it
Okay.
doesn't affect him. Mm. Sachidananda. So, okay, thank you so much. We're continuing to read. Tasmad Veranu Bandena
Tasmat Vairanu
Nirvairena Bhayena Va
Nirvairena Bhayena Va
Snehat Kamena Va
Snehat Kamena Vayunjyat
Kathanchin Nekshate Prathak.
Katanchin Nikshate Pratak.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, by enmity or by devotional service, by fear, by affection, or by lusty desire, by all of these, or any one of them, if a conditioned soul somehow or other concentrates his mind upon the Lord, the result is the same. For the Lord, because of his blissful position, is never affected by enmity or friendship. From this verse, one should not conclude that because Krishna is unaffected by favorable prayers or unfavorable blasphemy, One should therefore blaspheme the Supreme Lord. This is not the regulative principle. Bhakti Yoga means anukulyena Krishna anushilanam. One should serve Krishna very favorably. This is the real injunction. So Prabhupada is saying, although Narad Muni is saying the Lord is not affected by it, doesn't mean that we should blaspheme the Lord. Pure devotional service, Srila Rupa Goswami is giving us the definition of pure devotional service. Anukulyena, Krishna Anushilanam. That serving Krishna favorably, not unfavorably, very favorably. So here it is said that although an enemy thinks of Krishna unfavorably, the Lord is unaffected by such anti-devotional service. Thus he offers his benedictions even to Shishupal and similarly inimical conditioned souls. This does not mean, however, that one should be inimical toward the Lord. The stress is given to the favorable execution of devotional service, not purposeful blasphemy of the Lord. To a parent, even if the child is always fighting with the parent still loves the child, irrespective, right? But doesn't mean the child should fight with the parent. You should have loving relationship. So similarly, although here we are hearing Lord is not affected, doesn't mean that we should blaspheme the Lord. No. In fact, we should love the Lord, be situated in this loving relationship with Him. So it is said, Nindam Bhagavata Shranvam Tatparasya Janasya Va Tato Napaiti Yasopi Yati Ada Sukritacha Yuta. One who hears blasphemy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotees should immediately take action or should leave. Otherwise, he will be put into hellish life perpetually. There are many such injunctions. Therefore, as a regulative principle, one should not be unfavorable toward the Lord, but always favorably inclined toward him. We should favorably think of Krishna, not with envy, but with devotion. We should favorably serve the Supreme Lord. Shishupal's achievement of oneness with the Supreme Lord was different because Jay and Vijay, from the very beginning of their material existence, were ordained to treat the Supreme Lord as an enemy for 3 lives and then return home back to Godhead. Jay and Vijay inwardly knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they purposefully became his enemies to be delivered from material life. From the very beginning of their lives, they thought of Lord Krishna as an enemy. And even though blaspheming Lord Krishna, they chanted the holy name of Krishna constantly, along with their inimical thoughts. Thus, they were purified because of chanting the holy name of Krishna. So, Jai Vijay, we have to understand. Shishupal, Dandavakar, Ravan, Kumbhakaran, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, we have to understand where they are coming from. They are Jai and Vijay. They're devotees of the Lord. They actually have great love for the Lord. They look same like the Lord, Sarupya, no? They look the same and they are living on the same planet as the Lord. This is a pastime played by the Lord that the four Kumaras cursed them. They said, if you want to come back faster to Vaikuntha, 3 lives as demons, otherwise 7 lives. So they wanted to quickly come back to serve the Lord. So they said, okay, 3 lives as demons. Lord also wanted to fight with someone. So he doesn't fight with just anyone. He fights with his devotees, those who are qualified. So we have to understand that these personalities are not ordinary personalities. They are, after all, the Lord's associates themselves, Jai and Vijay. Because one may think, oh, well, I want to imitate. But we can't imitate them. We are not them. What we are encouraged to do is revive our loving relationship with Krishna. Serve Krishna favorably. So it is to be understood that even a blasphemer can be freed from sinful activities by chanting the holy name of the Lord. We can see the power of the holy name. Certainly, therefore, freedom is assured for a devotee who is always favorable to the service of the Lord. This will be clear from the following verse. By rapt attention fixed upon Krishna, one is purified, and thus one is delivered from material life. So Krishna is saying, engage your mind in always thinking of me. So what he means is saying, think of me favorably. He says, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, worship me. So favorably thinking of Krishna, and we can then get delivered from this material world. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has very nicely explained the word Vayena, which means fear. When the gopis went to Krishna in the dead of night, they certainly feared chastisement by their relatives, their husbands, brothers, and fathers. But nonetheless, not caring for their relatives, they went to Krishna. There was certainly fear, but this fear could not check their devotional service to Krishna. So Prabhupada is putting the explanation by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that the gopis, when Krishna played the flute in the middle of the night, the gopis went to meet Krishna. They wanted to meet him. They were afraid what their parents or their family members will say. But their desire to meet Krishna was greater than their fear. They had such eagerness to meet Krishna that some of them, they didn't even put on their makeup properly, or they put on their clothes in a haphazard manner, and they just left because the fear was certainly there, but the degree of eagerness to Krishna was much more. One should not mistakenly think that Lord Krishna must be worshipped by an inimical attitude like that of Shishupal. The injunction is anukulyasya grahanam pratikulyasya varjanam. One should give up unfavorable activities and accept only favorable conditions in devotional service. So this is surrender. Surrender to Krishna means giving up whatever is unfavorable for Krishna consciousness and taking up whatever is favorable. So taking up whatever is going to help us remember Krishna, and giving up whatever will help us forget Krishna. Because the foundational principle is always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, but favorably. Take up activities favorable that will help us remember Krishna. Generally, if one blasphemes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's punished, as the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 16.19. Tan aham dvishta kruran samsareshu naradaman shipami ajasram ashubhan asurishva eva yonishu. There are many such injunctions. One should not try to worship Krishna unfavorably, otherwise he must be punished, at least for one life to be purified. One should not try to be killed by embracing an enemy, a tiger or a snake. One should not blaspheme the Supreme Personality of Godhead and become his enemy in order to be put into hellish life. So Prabhupada is saying, yes, although one gets purified by chanting Krishna's name, even if it's out of envy, but yet we should give up this envy of Krishna, in fact. This material world is so designed that we are able to give up this envy of Krishna and revive our love for Krishna. Serve Krishna favorably, revive that relationship with Krishna. Prabhupada is saying, otherwise, for sure, we will get punished. Maybe even only for one life, but punishment will be there. The purpose of this verse is to emphasize that even the enemy of the Lord can be delivered, not to speak of his friend. Srila Madhvacharya also says in many ways that one should not blaspheme Lord Vishnu through one's mind, words, or actions, for a blasphemer will go to hellish life along with his forefathers. So Madhvacharya is saying not only will the blasphemer himself go to hellish life, but also the ancestors. Karmana manasa vacha yo vishyad vishnum avyayam majanti pitarastasya narake shaswati sama. So this verse is saying that even the forefathers will go to hell. We should try to deliver our forefathers, bring them to spiritual world, not take them to hellish planets. We become devotees, we can help to even liberate our ancestors, our family members. Dhruv Maharaj, he became a great devotee, and his mother was also going to Vaikuntha with him. In Bhagavad Gita 16.19 to 20, the Lord says, Tan aham dvishata kruran samsareshu naradaman shipami ajasram ashubhan asurishva eva yonishu asurim yoni apanna mudha janmani janmani mam aprapyeva kaunteya tato yanti adhamam gatim. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Attaining repeated birth among the species of demoniac life, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. One who blasphemes the Lord is put into a family of asuras in which there is every chance of forgetting the service of the Lord. So what might happen is one may be envious of the Lord, and the Lord puts him in hellish life. So one may think, oh, well, I just have to go to hellish life for one life, and then I will get liberated. So that may be a shortcut. But when one is put in a hellish life, one may completely forget Krishna, because the association is such. One may become even more offender of Krishna. The Lord, uh, yeah, so Lord Krishna further states in Bhagavad Gita 9, text 11 to 12, avajananti mamuda manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Mudas, rascals, blaspheme the Supreme Lord because he appears exactly like a human being. They do not know the unlimited opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Moga Shagmoga Karmano, Moga Jnana Vichetasa, Raksha Sim Asurim Cheva, Prakritim Mohinim Shrita. Anything done by those who have taken the attitude of enemies will be baffled. Mogasham. If these enemies try to be liberated or to merge into the existence of Brahman, if they desire to be elevated to the higher planetary systems as karmis, or even if they desire to return home back to Godhead, they will certainly be baffled. So, Prabhupada is quoting Lord Krishna. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita that those who are enemies will be baffled. So one may think, oh, I might get liberated by becoming Krishna's enemy. But Maya is very strong. We may just get baffled and forget Krishna completely. As for Hiranyakashipu, although he was extremely inimical toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he always thought of his son, who was a great devotee. Therefore, by the grace of his son Prahalad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu was also delivered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hiranyakashipuschapi Bhagwan Nindaya Tama Vivakshur Atyagachano Prahaladasyanu. So Prabhupada is quoting this verse which says that Hiranyakashipu blasphemed the Lord, yet he got liberated. Why? Because he had affection for his son, Prahlad, who was a great devotee of the Lord. He's a great devotee of the Lord. Because of him, he got liberated. Prahlad Maharaj told Lord Nrsingadev, you please liberate my father. Lord Nrsingadev said, you and your forefathers, your future generations, all liberated because you are a great devotee. So we can see that if we actually care for our family, we should try to become devotees so that we can liberate them, bring them to the spiritual world, bring them in a um, nice Vaikuntha atmosphere instead of bringing them down to hellish suffering. The conclusion is that one should not give up pure devotional service for one's own benefit. One should not imitate Hiranyakashipu or Shishupal. This is not the way to achieve success. So because one may try to say, oh, I'm going to imitate them and then I will get liberated. But we have to understand that Hiranyakashipu, Shishupal, they were great devotees themselves. They were just, because of the curse, they had to become the Lord's enemy for three births. And then they came as Jagai Madai. They told Krishna that, oh, you're going to come as Lord Chaitanya. We want to come too. They came as Jagai Madai. They wanted to experience Krishna Prem, which is the highest joy one can experience. We're always hankering for that happiness, that bliss, that joy, and we can experience that when we can revive our love for Krishna, when we can experience love for Krishna. Is that okay?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, so that means Hiranyakashipu or Shishupal or Jagai, or that, like, they got the body of the demons, of this Rakshasas. So they were aware that they have been cursed, and that's why, like, they have to fulfill, right? What was Krishna's desire? Like, he wanted them to be so that he could fight with them. So they were still chanting the Lord's name while in this body, like as
So,
demons.
so no. So they were chanting the name in enmity. They
Enemy.
completely forgot they were Jay and
Oh
Vijay,
God,
right?
right? Yeah.
Yeah, they forgot because they came to the material world. They got material body. They forgot.
Mm.
They're purposely put into this forgetfulness. Otherwise, how will they have that envy for Krishna? Otherwise, they love Krishna. That's why they are in Vaikuntha,
Mm.
right? So they are made to forget it so that they can fight with him. Is that
So
okay?
they were remembering Krishna, but in envy, in
Yeah,
hatred.
in envy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All the time. Oh, like Hiranyakashipu would say, who is this Vishnu? Who is this Vishnu? I want to be greater than him. All the time speaking about him, thinking about him. So they were thinking, speaking, but in envy. But as we are trying to understand that they are devotees of the Lord, actually, they're just playing the part of demons.
Indian part, like actors. Yeah.
So
Okay.
we should not try to imitate them because we are just going to go ourselves to hell and we'll take our forefathers also together with us to hellish conditions.
But
And we
that's
are
the thing,
advised to,
like the person who doesn't read Bhagavatam, then how will they understand this? Like, like
exactly.
we say, how, like, Hiranyakashipu or Shishupal, how they were delivered, how they got such, liberation.
Yeah, because
Being,
somebody may just pick up some part of this pastime,
yeah,
just one part of it without understanding. Yeah, you're right. So that's the reason there is so much need for studying Bhagavatam. Because people just comment otherwise from one part over here or one part there, or misrepresent it or misunderstand it.
yeah.
It's so true. So true. So if you come across somebody who's misunderstood it, then you can suggest them, you please study the Bhagavatam and you will understand it properly. What is the full pastime about? We should encourage people to read Bhagavatam. Yatha Vairanu
Yatha Vairānubandhena
Martyastanmayatam iyat
Madhyastanmayatam iyat
na tatha bhakti yogena
na tatha bhakti yogena
iti me nischita matihe.
iti me nishchita matihi.
Narad Muni continued, by devotional service, one cannot achieve such intense absorption in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one can through enmity toward him. That is my opinion. Shriman Narad Muni, the topmost pure devotee, praises Krishna's enemies like Shishupal because their minds are always completely absorbed in Krishna. Indeed, he thinks himself deficient in the inspiration of being feelingly absorbed in Krishna consciousness. This does not mean, however, that the enemies of Krishna are more elevated than Krishna's pure devotees. In the Caitanya Caritamrita, Adi Leela 5.205, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also thinks of himself in such a humble way. Jagai Mada Haite Muni se papishta, Puri Shera Kita Haite Muni se lagishta. I am a worse sinner than Jagai Mada, and am even lower than the worms in the stool. A pure devotee always thinks himself more deficient than everyone else. So here Narad Muni is saying that someone who is an enemy, he can think of Krishna more fixedly. So Prabhupada is explaining that Narad Muni is a pure devotee of the Lord. Out of his humility, he's saying that Shishupal was able to think of the Lord even more than me. So one should not misunderstand and say, oh, I'm going to think of Lord as an enemy. Again, we will be baffled. We have to understand Shishupal, they are Jai Vijay. They are great personalities. And here Narad Muni's humility is being, uh, we can see. Otherwise, why doesn't Narad Muni take up the enmity? Right? He doesn't, no? But he's thinking himself, oh, I'm not able to think of the Lord as much as Shishupal was thinking. Prabhupada is here giving also, he's quoting Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Caitanya Caritamrita. He's a great devotee of the Lord. And he's saying, oh, Jagai Madaya get greater than me. I am lower than even Jagai Madaya. I am lower than worm in the stool. I am a worse sinner. He is a pure devotee of the Lord. He is not at all a sinner. But he's feeling himself like that. And that is the humility. Yeah. So, not to misunderstand this verse, we can see how Srila Prabhupada is explaining it so nicely. If a devotee approaches Srimati Radharani to offer some service to Krishna, even Srimati Radharani thinks that the devotee is greater than she. Thus, Narad Muni says that according to his opinion, the enemies of Krishna are better situated because they are fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna in terms of killing him, just as a very lusty man always thinks of women and their association. So Prabhupada is saying Srimati Radharani is also like that. Somebody wants to serve her. She tells Krishna, this devotee loves you more than me, is able to serve you better than me. Please accept them. That's her humility though, because she knows how to serve Krishna the best. No one can know how to serve Krishna better than Srimati Radharani. So the essential point in this connection is that one should be fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna 24 hours a day. There are many devotees in Rag Marg, which is exhibited in Vrindavan. So Prabhupada is saying, what is Narad Muni actually trying to say by this verse? He's trying to say that engage your mind always in thinking of Krishna, saying that. Always think of Krishna. Always remember Krishna. Always chant Krishna's glories. Prabhupada is saying that the Raganuga Bhakta, always thinking of Krishna. They have this attachment for Krishna. The Braja Prem, they have this love for Krishna. Whether in Dasya Ras, Sakhya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, or Madhurya Ras. All the devotees of Krishna are always overwhelmed by thoughts of Krishna. When Krishna is away from Vrindavan tending the cows in the forest, the gopis in the Madhurya Ras are always absorbed in thoughts of how Krishna walks in the forest. So Krishna's Brajabasis, they're always missing Krishna, always thinking of Krishna. When Krishna goes to the forest, the gopis are still thinking of Krishna. Oh, how he's walking, how the soles of his feet are so soft that the gopis would not dare keep his lotus feet on their soft breasts. Indeed, they consider their breasts a very hard place for the lotus feet of Krishna. Yet those lotus feet wander in the forest, which is full of thorny plants. The gopis are absorbed in such thoughts at home, although Krishna is away from them. So they are doing their work, but they are thinking of Krishna, or they are thinking, oh my God, Krishna's feet are so soft, softer than lotus, and he's walking barefoot, and all the stones and the pebbles must be hurting his feet. Similarly, when Krishna plays with his young friends, Mother Yashoda is very much disturbed by thoughts that Krishna, because of always playing and not taking his food properly, must be getting weak. These are examples of the exalted ecstasy felt in Krishna's service as manifested in Vrindavan. So, mother always wants to feed the child. She thinks, I don't feed my child will die. So, Mother Yashoda has the similar anxiety. I have to feed Krishna. He's just busy playing all the time. He doesn't want to eat his food. He's not going to get enough nutrition, all his vitamins. So, that's what she's thinking. And they're all thinking all this out of love. So this service is indirectly praised by Narad Muni in this verse, especially for the conditioned soul. Narad Muni recommends that one somehow or other be absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, for that will save one from all the dangers of material existence. Full absorption in thought of Krishna is the highest platform of Bhakti Yoga. Always thinking of Krishna, somehow or the other thinking of Krishna. Is that okay? Comments? So we can also try to attempt to think of Krishna. What are some things we could do that could help us to remind us of Krishna? What do you all think? Because we are being advised to think of Krishna.
Chanting,
Chanting, yes. Yes, chanting.
listening to his glories.
Yeah,
Listening to
service, like,
his,
yeah,
yes, yes. Service,
make
yes.
prasadam or distribute prasad. And
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
for Sankirtan,
Kirtan, yes.
When we read the
Read,
scriptures,
yes. Reading the
listening
scriptures.
to all his glories. Yeah.
Listening to Krishna's glories, yes. Listening to Krishna Katha, yes. Worshipping the deity.
mm,
When we worship the deity, you know,
and
offering.
follow devotees also
Yes,
who are Krishna devotees. Yeah.
Be
yes.
in association with the devotees.
Association of devotees, yes.
Mm.
Yeah. These are some of the practical ways that we can try to remember Krishna. Yes, thank you so much.
I have one question.
Yes, please.
Like Hiranyakashipu and Shishupal were the like envy in in that birth they were envy.
Yeah.
Before they
Mhm.
were the devotee of Krishna, Jai Vijay, right?
Yeah.
But like here explaining Narad Muni, like even they were envy, but they are more pure than the pure devotee, like that, right? Because they are concentrating about the Krishna. Like even the intention was not good, but they are deeply involved in the Krishna memories.
Hmm.
Memories in the sense like thinking how to do, what to do, like that, this type of thing. So,
Yeah.
in knowingly or unknowingly, the Krishna's blessings is going onto both of them, or uh, like, is there some positive vibes they are getting from Krishna, even they were envy.
Yes, that's right, because they're chanting Krishna's name, so they're getting purified. Yes,
Mm.
that's right.
So, like in our normal common life, like if we have some problem with somebody, we are thinking about him or her. So, is this the same? Like their positive or negative vibes coming into us?
Yeah, that's right. So
Mm.
Krishna is completely pure. So when one thinks
Yeah.
of Krishna, then we
So
can
it will
get
pure.
purified. That's right.
Mm. But yes, yes.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
So we are being advised to think of Krishna favorably, not with
Mm.
envy, but with
Mm.
devotion.
Mm.
Mm. That's what we have to understand. Even though Narad Muni is saying that, oh, they are better than me, that is his humility, he's saying. It's just out
Mm.
of his humility. But we can see Narad Muni, great devotee of Krishna,
Yes,
always
yes,
singing and chanting
yes,
Krishna's glories, never envy of
yes,
Krishna, right?
yeah. Mm.
So this is only his humility he's saying that. But what he
Mm.
wants us to do is think of Krishna with
Mm.
love, with devotion,
Mm.
favorably.
Yeah, like when you are become pure devotee, then you have no problem with anyone, right? You are
That's right.
taking, yeah,
Yeah, that's right. So the more we think of Krishna, the more we will get purified. As
purified.
you
Yeah.
say, we think of someone, we get their positive, negative vibes. So Krishna is
Mm.
all pure, the purest of the pure.
Mm.
So if we think of him, we will also get pure. We chant his name, we are also getting purified.
Mm.
We are remembering him. We are hearing about him, we are getting purified. We worship the deity, we are getting purified.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is
thank
that
you.
okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So let's stop here for today. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you.